Happy Friday! Today is September 19th. This week, everything marketers need to know about AI search ads, from pricing to platforms to tips for revamping your strategy. Plus, agencies respond to a new tax on free food in the office. And YouTube's new ad product that's making creators into fully fledged media networks. This is Ad Age Insider, taking you behind the scenes of the industry's biggest stories with the reporters who wrote them. I'm your host, Parker Herron. So if I had $1 for every new AI product an agency, media company, or brand rolled out, I might be able to retire early. But as much as AI has become the industry's obsession, one key question has yet to be answered. How will brands be able to advertise on platforms like ChatGPT? OpenAI hasn't launched ads, but Perplexity has tested sponsored products, and Google has begun integrating some advertising into its AI search. Meta may come in and be the first with a full AI advertising suite. It's all still TBD. On top of those fundamentals, what will AI ads cost? What will they look like? How will paid responses impact AI models when consumer trust is still being built? And what do marketers need to know to start strategizing? Today, I'm calling in backup from Ad Age's emerging technology reporter, Asa Hiken, to answer all of those questions for us. But first, some exciting Ad Age Insider news. Over the next 2 weeks, you'll be getting even more of me. Ad Age is launching a new package on Monday called the Future of Advertising 2030. All about what the rapid change currently shaking up the industry will look like in 5 years, and how marketers and agency leaders can prepare right now. In celebration of that package on adage.com, Ad Age Insider will be going deep on 4 key topics: the impact of emerging technology, the future of advertising careers, consumer behavior in 2030, and the evolution of ad agencies. Next Tuesday and Friday, and the Tuesday and Friday after that, tune in for reporter roundtables on those topics. Plus, listen next Tuesday for a super limited time promo on Ad Age All Access subscriptions. You won't want to miss it. Okay, now let's get Asa in here to talk AI search ads. Hey Asa, welcome to Ad Age Insider.
Thanks, Parker, for having me. Great to be here.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. You wrote a great FAQ about AI search ads for Ad Age, and I'll definitely have a link to that in this episode's description. Everyone needs to read it. I'm sure many of us have spent time on ChatGPT or are getting used to those Google AI summaries at the top of the Google search. I personally have not encountered any ads on those spaces, so I'm wondering if you can fill me in on the state of ads in AI search platforms right now to get us started.
Sure. Yeah. So you aren't alone. No one has seen ads in ChatGPT, and that's because OpenAI hasn't started running ads in ChatGPT. There's the off chance that you've seen them if you run browser extensions. I think there are some networks that have popped up that allow sort of third parties to run ads via the browser extension, and they show up in ChatGPT, but that's not through OpenAI. So OpenAI hasn't run any ads. Perplexity has tested some ads. They've actually, I wrote a story a few weeks ago about how they're sort of retreating from that position as of late. Not seeing too many ads in there at this point, but they have tested them with brands like Indeed and Whole Foods. Just some very basic, the ability to sponsor the related question section below the result, as well as some paid media in the margin. But again, your Perplexity users probably aren't seeing that very much. Google is running ads in AI overviews and AI mode. Again, that's also not super common. In just my own personal usage, I've rarely come across them. But the truth is that some advertisers do have the ability to run ads in AI overviews. And It's starting to come to AI mode as well. But advertisers don't have the option to specifically choose to advertise in these AI search platforms on Google. They kind of just buy ads with Google and Google puts them wherever. So even if you're, hoping to advertise on AI mode, it's really up to Google. So beyond that, ads really aren't all that common yet. Paid media isn't all that common in these AI platforms.
And you had mentioned what ads on Perplexity in those test cases looked like. The recommended next questions to ask might be branded. What else might these ads in AI search look like? Is it something like that that's kind of set aside and denoted as an ad? Or are we thinking anything that's a little more organic to the way you talk to a chatbot might be showing up for brands to take a hold of?
Yeah, I think it's really split at this point. There was a part of the ad industry that liked those ads in Perplexity, the sort of like, oh, it's sort of a non-intrusive ability to just sponsor a core part of this platform. It's not that intrusive, it's good. Other people kind of saw it as, this is very much awareness, top of funnel marketing. Who's gonna like buy these ads? Who's really going to want these ads? And how is this going to turn into a robust ad business for Perplexity? Advertisers need something, a little more lower funnel, something that could drive conversions. And so that is another option that is possible. Something that we have not seen this in the wild yet, but it's possible for some of these AI platforms to leverage their system's ability to remember things about from conversations they have with users and leverage that in a way that they could bring an ad in that is relevant, that isn't, freaking the user out, but kind of capitalizes on that memory, that knowledge bank of that user, and therefore allowing advertisers to have a very targeted ad placement. If I'm like someone if I have a kid and I've just been all summer long, talking about my kid and summer camp and what am I gonna do? What should I do with my kid? And, where should I put them? And then maybe I start asking questions about like my kids getting nervous about going back to school, whatever. Like maybe at that point in time, the chatbot could be like, hey, have you bought back to school supplies yet? Here's something from Office Depot or whatever.
Yeah. Have you looked into military camp or children's prison, something like that?
Yeah. So, it really depends. I mean, these things they can provide a lot of different responses. They're open to a lot of different experiences. If that is something that you have talked about with these platforms, don't expect it to forget that. It's gonna come back with that information and provide some relevant answers.
So this kind of targeting is, as I understand it, a hope from some advertisers. I mean, how far off are these platforms from like offering a real ad product to brands? You'd mentioned Perplexity tested it and it seemed shaky. Google is kind of halfway in, halfway out, and ChatGPT, OpenAI is so far not doing this. Is there any word on like when this will become a common offering to brands?
There isn't a concrete date set for any of these companies. OpenAI has slightly changed its tune on the matter. It used to be very against advertising in any way. Sam Altman, the CEO, has softened his view on in-platform advertising. He still pushes back against something that would be intrusive and, sort of derange the platform, but he's open to some affiliate marketing and some other possible options. Google, I mean, they're such an ad giant that I think they'll probably just keep building out their capabilities and their offerings on AI overviews and AI mode. So I think that's just going to be like a steady growth. An interesting one actually is Meta, because Meta obviously loves putting ads in all of its apps, and it's brought AI to, its entire family of apps. And in fact, it's rolled out a new app called the Meta AI app, and it's supposed to be this personalized chatbot for you and satisfy all your AI needs. And Mark Zuckerberg has mentioned that eventually they're going to bring ads to that, and it's going to be personalized. He hasn't given a date on when that will happen, but that I imagine will sort of answer a lot of these questions of what will advertising look like, how personalized will it be. I mean, leave it to Zuck to to bring the ads in. So it really depends on the platform. So I think it's coming, but precisely when, I'm not sure.
Yes, words of wisdom, WWZD. Your story had some interesting takes on what this might cost to have ads on search platforms. What have you found on potential pricing for these ads?
So yeah, I talked with a few ad experts, and Hans Fishman from AdRoll, he said that it could mirror the wide range that you see in CTV ad buying. So he said that that's roughly between, on a CPM model, that's roughly between $8 per thousand impressions to $60 per thousand impressions. Those are sort of the asking prices. And he said it could that range could look very similar for these AI search ads. And it really depends on the quality of the ads and ultimately the platform that's running the ads.
Yeah. Now, an idea that I imagine is has a little more tension in it among all of this is whether or not ads have any place in this ecosystem at all when the purpose of these platforms is for, theoretically, chatbots to be giving kind of unbiased and just like pure information to the consumer. Obviously, if anyone's paying to promote something within those conversations, that just kind of inherently might change that core function. So, from your reporting, what are you hearing, or what's your analysis of that conversation?
So that's a really good point that the AI companies, at least on the surface, seem to be cognizant of, and they sort of talk about. Sam Altman said that a lot. I don't know if Mark Zuckerberg has said that, but but anyways, I mean the truth is that these companies, especially OpenAI, they need to make money, and they aren't yet tapping into ad revenue. If they want to maximize the revenue, which a profit-seeking company they want to do, then ad revenue seems like a logical conclusion for them. So it seems likely that they'll bring it in some form, but you're right, there's the tension of like if they completely lead to an onslaught of advertising in these platforms, then it's just going to drive users away, or at least it might just ruin the product. I think the sort of need for revenue is one reason why advertising may come, but on the other side, the whole like bringing in unnecessary information could cloud the accuracy of the information you want. And that's really interesting because, when we talk to these bots, we want to believe that we're getting like unbiased, accurate information, but like it's all biased. It's trained, and we're just seeing the fruits of its training. And if ads were to come in there, it could warp the answers even more, but it's not like we're taking an objective viewpoint and making it subjective. We would just be further bringing opinions to an opinionated bot. I mean, you see the chatbots all the time, especially like Grok on X, just constantly like saying whatever whatever its recent training tells it to say. It says so. It's just they're all over the place, and but yeah, I think that the advertising, it could warp the information even more.
Yes, and I was trying to avoid bringing up Grok at any point because I felt like that's like warrants an entire discussion on its own. You had mentioned earlier answer engine optimization, and I want to touch on that real fast because what we're talking about with paid AI search ads is conceptual, it's future, it's being developed. Of course, all AI is currently kind of in development mode, but there are things brands can be doing now to revamp their search strategies to account for AI platforms. So, what in your reporting for answer engine optimization should brands know and have in their back pocket as they're thinking about the future of search with AI?
Yeah, so this is a big topic, and I've written a fair amount on this. And the disclaimer is that a lot of this is kind of a throw something at the wall, see what sticks approach, right? Like, I've been told by people at these companies that the engineers themselves don't fully understand the models. I don't expect some PR agency to have some, incredible understanding of them either. So, there's a lot of guessing, a lot of trial and error. That said, some tactics that have been talked about quite a bit are creating language that is a little more natural sounding, not sort of like very stilted language, but information that if the AI were to take it and put it in a result that comes back to a user, it'll feel like, oh, the AI was already saying that. It'll feel like that's the language that it tends to chat with users with.
And where is that copy? Is that like on a brand website, or where are you saying to write with this natural language?
Yeah, so words on a website, words in a white paper, words in a press release, words in a tweet. So there's the text element, which is the natural language. That's what comes up a lot. Again, it's kind of weird because it's like I don't know, like has Google come out and said that's the way you get in? No, in fact, Google's come out and said like keep doing your normal SEO. That will work just the same. You don't need something else. So that seems to go against everything that the AEO crowd is saying. And I've talked to SEO experts who are like everything AEO is saying we've been saying for years, like it's not a different thing at all. But the truth is that these models are kind of new agents of interaction with your website. They're interacting with your website. They're interacting differently than just a normal human user would. So you do have to kind of create the information, make the information available, in consideration of this, in consideration of these new agents. On the other end, people talk a lot about the future of the click in AI search platforms, and there's the possibility that it just goes away. That these AI platforms will become end-to-end experiences, and you'll never have to leave Perplexity or ChatGPT to go make a purchase. All of that can happen right in the platform, and as a result, the brand would never get the click. They never get the information, the traffic. They would just, make the sale. Perplexity's already rolled out a partnership with PayPal to sort of allow for in-platform purchasing on Perplexity. So they're kind of trying to close the gate a little bit and keep it in Perplexity. So if that were to happen, brands don't have the click. And at that point, what is performance? What is good performance for an ad on one of these platforms? It's unclear, and so it can be something conversion driven, like a click or the lack of a click, or as I was talking about with Perplexity sponsored related questions, it could be more awareness driving efforts.
My last question for you is just as you've been reporting about this space, what are you most excited about? Is there any like one thing that you're most interested to know the answer to or see happen or not happen? What is kind of keeping you on your toes about the future of this AI search space that we can all be on the lookout for too?
I'm interested to see how this space shakes out in terms of who's relevant. Right now, you have a handful of companies, big and smaller, Perplexity on the smaller end, that are kind of vying for, you know, AI search power. Their Perplexity's rolled out its own browser, and OpenAI is said to be looking into a browser, and I think Meta's said to be looking into a search engine, and Google's got the search engine, and I'm just thinking like, okay, I've only ever used Google in my life for traditional search. It's got like 90% market dominance for the search space, traditional search space. Is that like, is there going to be a different collection of competitors in the AI search space? Or is it just going to like whittle down into, again, the big, big, big dominating company, and then like Bing down here and Edge down here, and and there's like a couple other, DuckDuckGo. Like, I'm just like, who's gonna be the DuckDuckGo of the AI search space? Like, I don't know, but that's I'm kind of eager to see how this shakes out, because right now we're writing about it because there are kind of a lot of companies vying for power, but in 5 years, are we still gonna have this choice of sort of AI search on the internet? Like, I don't know. I kind of doubt it, but I don't know. It's that will be interesting to see how that shakes out.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow. You just fully took down Bing and DuckDuckGo, like all these places.
I don't. I DuckDuckGo, I think, is cool. I have no issues with DuckDuckGo. And there's some others that are just these small little browsers that are like trying to like be an alternative. I respect that. No comment on Bing, but I have no shade for those other small ones.
Amazing. Well, Asa, this was a mind-opening experience. Thank you for downloading a little expertise into my brain and all of our brains.
Of course, Parker. Thanks for having me.
This week's account review to know. Keurig Dr. Pepper has been quickly reshaping its agency roster since naming Drew Penio2 as CMO in February. The company shut down its in-house agency Liquid Sunshine in May and has consolidated 57 external agency partners into 2 holding companies. Keurig Dr. Pepper's marketing and media agencies are now divided between IPG's Deutsch and Publicis Group's BBH, LeTruc, and the Publicis Media Network. You can dig deep into the revamp, including an interview with Penio2 at the link in this episode's description. A few more headlines to know before your weekend. New tax changes set to take hold in 2026 will bar companies from being able to deduct the cost of free food at the office. Free food is, of course, a key perk for office culture, particularly with return-to-office mandates that don't always go over so well with employees. Some agency leaders told Ad Age that the cost of quality-of-life offerings, like food, is a necessity even if budgets have to go up. But answers were not definitive. Many of the largest agency holding companies declined to comment or did not respond when Ad Age asked their perspective. Holding companies would be the most impacted by the tax changes due to their size. The largest have upwards of 100,000 employees. As such, some independent agency leaders pointed to free meals and snacks as being a future differentiator in talent recruitment battles. And YouTube is launching new ad tools for creators to better monetize their content. One capability is called dynamic brand segments. In the past, a creator would film a sponsored segment in their video, and it would permanently be part of that video. Now, YouTubers can mark sponsored portions of their content and have the ability to swap that part out for new sponsorships or updated messaging. This capability, as well as a few others, give YouTube creators ad tools that mimic full-on media networks, monetizing their content libraries almost like a streaming service. It all feeds into the growth of influencer marketing and the shifting consumer behaviors that could see influencer content rivaling a top TV platform in the near future. Finally, get hyped for Ad Age's Future of Advertising 2030 package, dropping Monday, September 22nd on adage.com. And of course, Ad Age Insiders special episodes over the next 2 weeks discussing the future of technology, careers, consumers, and agencies. Don't miss it all starting next week. And this week on Ad Age's Marketer's Brief, Grio's CMO talks experiential marketing. Listen to that on the Marketer's Brief podcast, available on your favorite podcast platform. Go deeper on any of the stories I've mentioned today by clicking the links in this episode's description. If you enjoy Ad Age Insider, please subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Have a topic you want me to dig into? Email your ideas to aapodcast@adage.com or DM me on LinkedIn. Thank you to my guest, Asa Hiken, and to producer Lauren Ciardio. Thanks to you for listening. I'm Parker Heron, and this is Ad Age Insider. Enjoy your weekend.